had the asparagus in the ground for like 3 years now, so I feel like I should be getting a lot of spears. I planted maybe 16 crowns or so across this bed here. Um, and I think, last year I had planted the year before some coreopsis flowers. I hope I'm saying that right, but they're beautiful little, and they bush out, and you got these bright yellow flowers, and they really, brighten up an otherwise empty space. But man, they kind of grew like a weed because I planted them the year before, and then last year they were like they really took over the bed, and so I think the asparagus was having to compete with those. So I'm pulling those out. I'm not sure I got them completely out. We'll see as they if they sprout new stems coming up out of the ground this year. I'll be pulling them as we go to try to keep the asparagus bed clean so it doesn't have to compete with anything. And then the other thing too is that I'm finding that kind of grass that has the really long kind of white roots that kind of travel everywhere. I don't know the name, or I forgot the name of that. I think it's probably embedded in the grass that I have behind me here, and it seems for whatever reason it particularly is creeping into this bed back here. And so I've been pulling a lot of that out today. So really trying to clean up that bed, reestablish kind of what I call the gutter between the path and the bed itself, and then put some compost down on it. So that's my overall goal. Only got to mostly clearing it out today. Need to do some more clearing out today, but I'll keep working at it. Hello. Well, this is an update on my potting bench project. You can see it behind me there. I started out with building this pergola, and then I've moved on to building a potting bench. I've gotten the bench that's up against the shed mostly done. I'm actually installing some galvanized tubs on top of that bench and then turning them into sinks. So I've got more kind of detailed work to do on that, drilling the holes for drainage and all that kind of thing. I've got the plumbing was already there before I even started this project, so that's ready to go. And then I've got the other side, which I'm framing up here. And I guess the main question that I'm thinking through right now is how many shelves do I want? I've got this set up with one kind of shelf that's kind of high above head. I'm intending that I can kind of store plants and trays of plants and cell trays and stuff up there during the summer while I'm kind of planting out for the fall garden type of thing. But then do I want another shelf between the main counter and where I have the shelf right now? That's what I'm kind of wondering about. And I mean, I kind of would like the storage, but I'm just afraid it'll look too busy, and I kind of want the whole thing to look okay as well, look cool actually as well. So yeah, I'll be putting some thought into it. I'll probably work on another part of the project first and then come back to it after that. All right, I'll see you guys later. Well, here are the snowdrops, and yeah, they haven't bloomed yet, but hopefully we will see them soon. Hey, just showing you all what I'm up to here over my shoulder there. I've got some cardboard laid down. This area of the garden here, I've had these big wide grass paths in between the beds, and I'm looking to stop doing that and instead go ahead and fill this area in more with garden space, and then just put kind of a smaller walking path. So in order to do that this year, what I'm going to try is kind of following the advice of Charles Dowding. You can see him on YouTube, and of course he's got some books and things of that nature, but he's kind of a key proponent of no-dig gardening, and he makes it look easy. You just put your cardboard down to smother the grass and the weeds, and then you put your compost on top of it. So I'm going to go ahead and give that a try with these paths this year and see how it goes. So I don't have enough cardboard yet, but we get a lot of Amazon orders around here, so I think I probably will soon. Well, it's close to February, Valentine's Day weekend, and the garden is snowed over. I actually need to figure out the best, easiest tool to go try to scrape all that ice and snow off the top of the greenhouse, because it's not built to handle a pile of snow sitting on top of it like that. So that'll be something I need to take care of. Well, hey there, it's late in the evening, and I'm planting seeds in the basement nursery. I've got kind of two of these 10-20 trays of peppers, and I'm planting about 20 cells of each variety of peppers. So I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, I have about 10 varieties of peppers. The one that I'm planting right now is this Serrano, the Serrano chili pepper from Botanical Interest. So yeah, I can kind of show you my method as I'm doing it here. Too complicated. Looks like I'm just putting a label on this last one, so I need to do that too. But $12 cells is going to give me more plants than I need. I probably would only keep 6 plants per variety. Hopefully, I'll be able to give away the other starts. I'll lose some by accident probably, but probably, always think that, and then actually I just end up with more plants in the garden than I need, or that I was planning on having. And then in this, there's a lot of seeds in this packet here. I'm not going to be able to plant all that. I'm going to plant 2 seeds per cell because I have so many of these seeds, and more than I'm going to plant, and then that just gives me kind of backup for germination. I probably don't need it. These kind of seeds typically have a pretty high germination rate. We have pretty high success here germinating. So what I'm doing is I'm just pressing down. The way I do this is I fill the seed tray, and then I've trying not to drip water all over my seeds that I might want to save. I filled the seed tray there, and then I've watered it ahead of time, and then I'm just putting an indentation, just kind of making a bed for the seeds. And then I'm going to drop my 2 seeds on top of that bed that I made, and then I'm just going to sprinkle some dirt over it. So instead of, I don't like dig a hole with a dibbler and then stuff a seed in it. I put the seed down, and then I just put a little more soil on top of it, is how I go about this kind of seed planting. I'm going to save the rest of these seeds, more than I'm going to plant here this year, more than I would plant next year even. So now there's going to be some wasted seed there at some point, but this packet will still be good for next year. Okay. And I need to grab a couple of tags, and I'll be right back over here in just a second. The other thing I do that I'm not going to show you because I'm videoing myself with my phone here, but what I do is I use the Notes app in my phone to take a record that I actually planted these peppers on this date. I write down that I planted 12 cells, and then I take a picture of the front here, and I put it in the note that's on my phone. I have an Android phone, so I'm using, I have a Samsung Android phone to be specific, so I'm using Samsung Notes for that. But I think you could use OneNote or other kinds of note-taking apps, Evernote or whatever you might use. Perhaps there's something you use on an Apple phone or whatever. So yeah, that's my process. I'll be right back. I'm going to grab a couple tags. I try to tag everything. It's usually easy. I usually mean well and get it and do it right to begin with, but over time, this 12 cell trays become 12 different individual plants, usually in a red solo cup or some other kind of little pot before it goes out into the field. So that's 12 more tags that I have to presumably make and keep track of, and sometimes I might not do that or forget to do that. And then when it goes out into the field, those tags got to make their way into the ground, and then you put them in the ground, but they get knocked over by weather or whatever. And so it's not uncommon by the end of the season I've totally forgot what I planted where. But by the time you get to the end of the season, having planted some of these things over many years, I kind of know because the fruits themselves tell me what they are. So But it's really like the stuff you've never done before for the first time is what I really got to make sure I keep track of. Hi there. So I have an example of the issue of it being really busy in the winter time for gardening, counter to what you would think. I mean, out here behind me here is, you can see it's snowing and ice on the ground here. This is kind of the once every other year Snowmageddon in Portland. This is the south lawn garden here at PDX Garden Home. Not the area I normally film in, because I normally film in the kitchen garden, which is over in the north garden area of PDX Garden Home. And in that area, I have an area where we can have supplies dumped off, and where I have a big load of compost dumped off. You may have seen that in my prior videos. And I've run into a time crunch in the middle of winter for gardening, because I need to have a bulk supply of potting soil at this time. It's mid-February here, and I'm starting all my seeds, and I need to have a bulk supply of potting soil. And I am not able to do that because I haven't, the big 2.5, 3 units of compost that I had dumped in the north garden dumping area was that's my dumping space. I don't have other dumping space in a city garden here. And so because I haven't gotten that all spread out yet, I don't have room to have a bulk delivery of potting soil yet. And because I don't do that, that means I'm using bags of big box store potting soil, which run anywhere from, $8 to $10 a bag, right? And by the time I'm done with all the seed starting that I do, I'm going to use at least 100 bags. And so, I can get enough potting soil for the season and some for just $200 or $300, right? But if I were to buy it all kind of in the bags you get from big box stores, I'm going to be spending $1,000 on potting soil. So yeah, it's important as I get into the heavy kind of seed starting season that I'm able to get potting soil in bulk, which I can get from the same place that I get the mulch, but I can't get it unless I've actually done the work to move all the mulch around the garden beds. So I tell you this big long story because a lot of people always say, oh, you're a gardener, I bet you have nothing to do in the winter. And this is an example of why that is totally not the case. I have lots to do. I've got to get that compost cleared out and into the bed so I can get my potting soil in, so I can carry on with my seed starting at scale. And then the problem, of course, this week is that, well, I can't clear that compost right now because we're sitting with about 6 to 8 inches of snow and then a layer of ice on top of it right now. And so moving compost around garden beds isn't a thing I can do at the moment. So yeah, that's just one big long speech as to why gardening, at least the way I do it, continues on throughout the year, and it's not a oh, you take a big break in the winter kind of thing for me anyway. All right, I'll see you guys all later. Bye.